Retro Hangover is supported via Patreon by listeners like you. We would especially like to thank patrons Lyle McCarnes, Tony G, Tom the Superhero, Studstill Smash the Milkman, Lucas from Game Over Hell, Mast Keaton, Ozzy Garcia, JC, Megan Caruso, Dave Jackson, Jenny E, Retro Overdrive, Soha, The Emperor, Storm Beagle, Matt aka Stormageddon, Van Fertile, and B. Ross from Super Garbage Day, Jared Brayland, Randall Quiggle, Raging Demon, Keith Gasper, The Retro Vixen, Eric Guess, Nomad from the Retro Wildlands Podcast, Ash Event, Alan Bingham, Mike the Ref from Backbreaker Gaming, Alt, Gary Heather, Low5 Alex, Oh Me, Makeshift Money, Segaboy 7, Riskel, and Adam R. Your continued engagement and generous donations are deeply appreciated.
Open your ears and crack some beers. You are listening to the most recent episode of Retro Hangover.
Hello, retro and classic gamers. Welcome to the podcast where we super stomp silly scallywags saying scandalous soliloquies. This is Retro Hangover. I am your co-host, Chris Copleen, with special guest, Captain N, Brian Fortin from the Retrotopia Podcast. And, as always, your host, Shane. Stomped Dick Creature Dragon Saltaire!
I was really expecting a Goomba-related pun as part of the Dick Dragon.
That is Goomba related.
What? How?
You're stomping on the Dick Creature.
You said why creature? Why did we use creature?
What is it?
Why do we just
You can't
use
call it a Dick Goomba because a Goomba.
You want him to call it a masterpiece?
I mean, it's like a penis monster.
That goes without saying, but I mean,
yes.
I don't know. The Goomba tipped Dick Dragon. Anyway, I don't know. Whatever. It's fine. It's fine. We're here now.
I can't saying Goomba and Dick is redundant. It's repetitive.
Right. Because that's definitely never been an issue before.
No, never has been. We're 100% perfect on this.
Definitely.
We always make sense. Speaking of making sense, we have a great guest to be here with us this week. We have Brian from the Retrotopia Podcast. Brian, thank you for joining us for a third time. Glad to have you on the show.
I always love doing this. It's always a good time.
Thank you. But I think everyone has seen right now what this episode is. It's a very important episode because it is a 40th anniversary episode for a little game called Super Mario Brothers. This is an NES game or the NES, as some people call it. I'm looking forward to your thoughts about this. I don't think this game has ever been talked about enough. So we're going to have some.
I was going to say, I feel like you're struggling to find a way to introduce this game, this obscure title that no one has ever seen.
It's a hidden gem.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And
a real diamond in the rough, as it were.
It's going to be enlightening for the majority of our audience, I think. So glad we could pick it. But what will also be enlightening for everybody is figuring out what games that we have been playing lately. And as tradition goes, as we are wont to do, our guest
gets to go first and talk about what game they have been playing lately before myself and Shane get to it. So, Brian, what games are on your docket?
Oh my. I've actually been playing a lot of games lately. I've been going through the Pixel Remaster collection. My goal is to hit all 6 within 12 months. I'm 5 out of 6 right now completed. So I just have Final Fantasy V to go through again. And then I don't know, maybe I'll go start 7, 8, 9, and 8 being the one that frustrates me the most. So we'll see. I also played a little indie game called Sword of the Sea that just came out. Very fun game, but I don't think a lot of people would like it. It's very tranquil. It's if you like games that don't really involve a lot of action, it's just about the exploration. That's the game to go with. Been playing Super Mario Brothers 2. We've decided to revisit that for our 100th episode on Retrotopia. Got to get back into that. We're going to do that in Doki Doki Panic, the game that Super Mario Brothers 2 is based off of.
Didn't know that.
And
never.
Seriously?
No, never.
Oh my God, you guys got to play Doki Doki Panic. That game is friggin' like it's
Chris, shut the
trippy
fuck
because
up.
It's almost spot on. But it is not. Oh yeah, you're fucking with me?
No, not at all.
I would believe it because you're so genuine all the time, you jackass.
I think that's the first time I've heard anybody call Chris genuine.
Anyways, you know what? You ruined my buzz. I was very happy to do this. I'm just done. You know what? Screw you guys. I'm not going to talk about the last 2 games.
Fine. Have it your
One
way.
of them being He-Roll.
Oh, He-Roll.
Hey.
I heard Shane talk about it, but I'm also addicted to that game because it is stupid fun. Yeah, it is insanely fun. Like you can just do a run in about 10 minutes and then just carry on with your day. And then when you have nothing to do, just another run of He-Roll there. And guys, whoever made that game did it right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, and finally, last game I started tonight was Indica. It's an indie game. I have absolutely no idea what it's about. It's just you're a nun and you're going through I think a crisis of conscience there where you hear the devil in your voice. And I think I hit a point where you have to go between praying and embracing the devil.
Nice.
As we all do.
Yes, that is basically what I got. Oh, and I started Ghost of Tsushima, but that's a whole different story. That's not exciting.
Really? Not enjoying it?
No, I've played it like 5 times. I'm just Ghost of Yotai is coming out, and I don't know why I have to do this every time, but I got to play the prequel before I play the sequel.
Okay, makes sense. So that sounds like you're having a lot of fun. You're having a lot more fun than I am because all I've been playing lately is Fallout when I have time to play. And this is kind of I'll just talk about this is going to be the interesting part. The line of events that has led me to not beating Fallout yet. So I have been playing Fallout now for about 3 weeks. I think I've put a grand total of 10 hours into it, maybe. I can't play, I try to play on Mondays, but then I'm just too tired because of work. Tuesdays is pool. Wednesdays I stream with Mike, the ref, over on his channel, watching some wrestling.
Oh, you started streaming with them?
Well, kind of. We play WWE 2K25, my GM mode.
I haven't had a chance to check him out in such a long time. People got to check out Mike the Ref.
Yeah, definitely. He's a good dude. Really good dude. And then Thursdays we have Game Center CX, which I participate in. And then I have Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But then friends in real life want to hang out with me or something. It's what the fuck, man? It's horrible. And then it's like this Monday, I was I got really close last weekend to beating it. Then Monday, I was I have an hour before we kick off some Game Center CX power outage. So can't do nothing there. I still haven't unpacked my Switch 2. It's sitting right next to me. I think I've had it for 2 months now.
You are missing nothing.
Oh. I was about to say, yeah, that's probably for the best, actually.
I think I've gotten more playtime. No, I definitely have gotten more playtime out of my retro AVS because I've actually opened it up and played it. I've used it on stream. I played Batman recently on stream. That was fun. But I've gotten more time out of my retro AVS than my Switch 2, which is something to say. So, Shane.
Well, I too have been playing more of the He-Roll. It is a nice little time killer. And let's see, what else do I got going on? Still trying to plink away at Legend of Grimrock 2. My deadline to finish that one is like the end of September, so it's coming up. So I gotta knock that one out, but still enjoying that one. What else? I have tentatively started a new run of Fallout, and we'll see how that goes. And I feel like there's something else, but I don't recall. I mean, I'm still playing the Wizardry mobile game. So ever since we did that episode, I've just been stuck back on that one too. So, but I think that's generally it for right now. Like I suppose pseudo spoiler for another guest spot that I have been asked to do, but I will probably be diving back for the 3,000th time into Diablo 2 for reasons. So so there's that. I
like that game?
I mean, it's all right.
Okay.
It has its moments. Yeah. But
okay.
It also reminds me, I actually need to clarify if we're talking about just Diablo 2 or if we're talking about Lord of Destruction, like the whole package. So I should probably clarify that. But anyway, that's pretty much it. Yeah. I haven't really had a ton of time for a lot else right now. Just trying to keep up on show related items.
Pretty much same.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep, I know that feeling.
So I'm glad that Shane and I have ended on somewhat of a depressing note. At least Brian's having fun. He's having fun.
I didn't say I wasn't having fun. I mean, if you listened to our other M episode, you would have heard that I actually enjoyed myself, so.
Yeah.
It's just, it's the life of a podcaster, like you have to play games and it's tough.
It's awful.
I wouldn't wish this life upon anybody. It is a struggle. It really is.
Got to feel sorry for us because we have to play video games.
Yeah, definitely.
Some days I just want to sit there and just play a video game to get away from the video game.
I agree.
And yes, apparently I am by default the de facto Metroid guy of the show. So
yes,
it's fine. You're
going to be the de facto Fallout guy too.
That actually, that is also true. But for probably not the reasons that fans of the first two games would hope. But anyway, that's for a later time.
Yes, it is.
Chris, I think maybe you should tell all the people at home who are listening right now and who are like, I don't know why they would pick this game. Like, it seems really just out of left field. Like, I don't know what it is. I don't know who Mario is or why who the brothers. I have no idea. Seems like a waste of time. So maybe, you should fill that in with some brief history, so people can kind of, get a real good grasp on, what we're going to be talking about for the rest of this episode.
Okay, I will. So, let me ask you a question. Have you heard of Super Mario Brothers? I'm willing to bet the answer is yes. Honestly, even if you've never picked up a controller, the name alone has kind of a transcendent gaming. It's one of those cultural touchstones that just about everybody recognizes. But here's the thing. As iconic and almost mythical Super Mario Bros. Feels now, it didn't just appear out of nowhere. It wasn't handed down from the heavens like some divine gift to gamers. No, real people made it, and one of those people was none other than Shigeru Miyamoto. Now, before Mario ever took his legendary leap into platforming history, Miyamoto and his team at Nintendo R&D 4 had already been sharpening their skills. They were experimenting with what the Famicom hardware could really do, building off their success in the arcades. They'd been tinkering with some side-scrolling mechanics in games like Excite Bike and Kung Fu, which, at the time, were pretty groundbreaking for a home console. Excite Bike especially gave them a template for something bigger, a game where movement could feel fluid, where the player could naturally speed up and slow down, giving a real sense of momentum. Miyamoto also had another goal. He wanted to push the Famicom to its absolute limits before Nintendo rolled out the Famicom Disk System, which would allow for bigger, more complex games. So, the race was on. Development for what would become Super Mario Bros. Kicked off in the fall of 1984, with a very ambitious release target, just in time for the 1985 holiday season. Designer Takashi Tezuka had a key suggestion during development. Why not make Mario the star once again? After all, Mario Bros. Had already proven successful in arcades, and the character had recognition. Plus, keeping the game relatively simple meant it was more realistic to hit that tight deadline. That's where the name Super Mario Bros. Came from, not just to signal an upgraded version of Mario Bros., but to highlight one of the game's new mechanics, the Super Mushroom, which for the first time gave Mario an upgrade by increasing his size and abilities. As development ramped up into early 1985, more ideas from Miyamoto's earlier works, Donkey Kong Jr., the original Mario Brothers, were woven into the design. The team poured absolutely everything they had into a tiny 32 kilobyte cartridge, which was also the maximum size of Famicom carts at the time. Think about that for a second. A game that changed the entire industry fit inside what today is barely the size of a modern Word document. Super Mario Bros. Officially launched on September 13th, 1985 in Japan for the Famicom. North America followed shortly after, right around the launch of the Nintendo Entertainment System that October. Europe got the game a little later, in 1987. And, as you'd expect, it was a hit. Not just critically, but commercially. By early 1986, Japan had already snapped up 4 million copies. North America, which was still reeling from the great video game crash of 1983, sold more than 1 million units in that same period. And make no mistake, Super Mario Bros. Is often credited with almost single-handedly resurrecting the industry in North America. Of course, sales just kept surging, not least because the game was bundled in with the NES. That propelled it to over 40 million copies sold, making it one of the best-selling games of all time and easily one of the biggest success stories in gaming history. But beyond the numbers, Super Mario Bros. Left a legacy. It inspired a flood of imitators, defined what a platformer could be, and set the standard for level design, pacing, and player experience. Nintendo themselves have re-released it countless times, ensuring each new generation gets introduced to those iconic first steps into World 1-1. For players in North America, especially, this wasn't just a game. It was the moment that defined what video games could be, and for many, it's the reason they became lifelong fans in the first place. To this day, Super Mario Bros. Isn't just important, it's foundational, a cornerstone of gaming history that still shapes the medium. And that is your brief history of Super Mario Bros.
Well, thank you very much, Chris. I'm sure the people listening really appreciate that additional information on this erstwhile unknown title released by this small indie dev.
Yeah. I am going to cut the shit now and just know that everyone knows this game. And this actually makes me a little nervous.
Well, fine.
Yeah, I'm cutting the charade. It makes me a little nervous because it's one of those times that, what can you say about a game that I feel like so many people talk about, especially in podcasting. I feel a lot of people get this game out of the way early, or just any sort of content that people create. This is one of the first ones they get to because it's easy. It's a game everyone recognizes. It's a good time. It's a good game that you can practice conversations about. You get it out of the way. And just because people recognize it, like, oh yeah, let's see what they have to say. So yeah, this one makes me a little nervous. We'll see if we can really have a good discussion around it. I think we can. But yeah, I'm kind of wondering how this is going to go and what more we can add to the Super Mario Brothers conversation. But Brian, I'm glad we have you on for this one. So if it doesn't work out, I can just blame you.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. That's my entire military career.
Yeah. See, that's how I learned it. Leadership. This is leadership.
Delegate and disappear.
Exactly.
I mean, we didn't talk about it early because we kind of agreed and decided to avoid this game like almost completely. So I'm actually, I'm not nervous. I'm just like, I'm still a little hesitant about it because I'm like, I don't, what are we going to say? It's like, it feels like an obligation.
It's the 40th anniversary.
Well, yes.
Like you have to do something. It's been 40 years now.
That is, I think, quite literally the only reason we're actually doing this, because otherwise I think we would have just never talked about this game and just pretended it didn't exist for those exact reasons. Because it's like, yeah, man, like go look up a did you know video on Super Mario Brothers. Like, I don't know what else to talk about, but I mean,
next time we should do Tetris.
Hell yeah, man. Let's fucking do it.
That L block is pure.
That L block. Let me tell you about that L block.
But, Shane, you bring up a good point, because when we started the podcast, we started Super Mario Brothers 2. Same reason. We didn't want to do Super Mario Brothers. It was kind of low-hanging fruit. So we picked the second game, which is, slightly higher low-hanging fruit. But the amount of things I found about, like, I did a little bit of research, because when I come onto this show, I always feel kind of dumb compared to you two. So I decided to kind of dive deep into this, and I ended up finding a whole shit ton of information and things I never knew about this game that has been revealed over the last 40 years. And the amount of people who have actually dived into this game is insane. It's just something unless you're like a scholar, like you just can't get into the amount of information available to Super Mario Brothers. It is a high level friggin' thing to try to take on. So you sit here and say like you never wanted to do this, but you had to because it's the 40th anniversary. But I kind of respect you guys for taking this long to get to it, simply because it's just something that has to be talked about this year, and you haven't already, jumped the shark with it. Maybe this is your jump the shark moment. Maybe this is where Retro Hangover dies.
God, finally.
This is the death of the sweet embrace of death with Mario.
The wizard won't let us stop podcasting until we do it.
Well, and I think so. It's interesting that you bring that up about just like the plethora of, interesting facts about Super Mario Brothers, because I think that's the other part of it for me is at least me personally, I don't want to like go down any of those paths too far, because I don't feel like I could compete with the people that have dissected this game like frame by frame, line of code by line of code, like I'm never going to be on that level. And so it's this weird spot, because it's like, okay, do we just kind of like throw out some of the like little interesting factoids of like, hey, did you know, like, if your score ends in these like certain numbers, you get fucking fireworks, like, or like that kind of almost surface level shit at this point? Do we dive into like some of the weird speed running tricks that have come up over the years with like frame perfect jumps? Like, like where do you land on this? A
frame perfect jump, apparently.
Yeah, just to let people know that, hold on a second, give me a second here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The 7 top speedrunning records are within half a second of each other.
Yeah.
That's how like much people have spent on this game trying to save a frame or two just to get that running record. And that's from speedrun.com. So I don't know if that's the official site or if, there's a more official site.
Oh, I'm sure there's a variety. I don't know if Twin Galaxies has a speed run as like a high score, or they do that. I don't know if they time it, but I'm sure there's a variety of it.
No, my personal record is 8 minutes and change, and that's when I was a young and able to do this.
With warp zones, I imagine.
My current record, yes, of course. My current record is going on about 14 days.
14 days. Yeah.
And we'll get to 8.4 eventually.
Another thing I want to bring up too is we said this a long time ago when we did the original Legend of Zelda. Even though I'm sure we probably will. I have a better feeling about this than with Zelda for some reason. I can't quite put my finger on it. But we're not here to just unilaterally kiss Super Mario Brothers ass. I think that it is a game and should be approached as a game. And if we have criticisms, it should be criticized, and just not here to gas up Super Mario Brothers. So we'll see how that goes. But like, I think that's been kind of a pet peeve of mine when a game is like super legendary and has kind of transcended the medium, as we said in our brief history, is when people do these retrospectives, they just talk about and gush about how much they love the game. And then we have done that from time to time with certain games. But I think I don't think it's good. I want to avoid generally being that. This isn't just a celebration of strictly Mario. We're reviewing it as a game. That's why it's on our show. So we'll see how it goes. We could gush about it the entire time. Who knows? But that's not the objective, if the listener understands what I mean. But I think that's a good time to get into personal histories. I mean, I'm sure this is going to be an interesting part. This is something, because I don't think we've been on any other podcast talking about Super Mario Brothers exclusively. So, everyone, I think, has a personal story about Super Mario Brothers when they first got into it, and kind of breaking tradition at this part. I'll let the guest go first. I'll let Brian go first. So, Brian, what's your personal story with Super Mario Brothers?
Okay, well, let's go before Super Mario Brothers. I was born in the year of our Lord 1980. I'm old. So I cut my teeth on the Atari 2600 on a black and white TV, and I'll never forget this day. We knew the Nintendo was out, me and my brother. It was 1985, and we had a babysitter, and he would not let us touch the Nintendo system at all. So we just continued to play Missile Command and stuff like that off the Atari on the black and white TV. And then one day, my parents sent me, and I don't think my brother was there, but sent me to another babysitter because I was still young. I believe it was a year later. And she had the Nintendo on the TV, and she knew how to distract kids. And she turned it on. And I still remember her handing me that controller and me running into the Goomba. World 1-1, the tutorial to end all tutorials. It taught me right away that you got to push the other buttons, because the Atari, you remember, you got the joystick and one button, right? Now you got this gamepad, and when you jumped, you threw your arms in the air to jump with the character. And I just never forget that day. That was the day I basically fell in love with video games. And I know you just said we're not going to gush over this game, and it's not Mario.
I mean, we might. If that's how you feel, then gush.
No, but it's not Mario that made me love video games. It was this moment that made me love video games. The interactivity, the colors, because I've never seen them in the video game before, because I always played on the black and white TV. This singular moment always sits with me as the moment that I really fell in love with the medium. And even today, like, we sit here and we talk about video games, you on your podcast, me, I started the podcast after you, but nevertheless, it was the same love. It's just, I don't know, my personal history with Mario is, it is the game I've played a lot. I probably played Mario more than I've played any other video game in my life, simply because when we bought our Nintendo, or sorry, not bought, but we got our Nintendo from our parents, Mario and Duck Hunt were our only two games for a good year. So I played that game in and out until I kind of, I wouldn't say mastered it, because you look at speedrunners today, like we just mentioned, but I became extremely familiar with it, and I would play through every level and avoid warp zones just to extend my playthrough. It's, I don't know, it is just something, this game is something very meaningful to me, and it's always held up. And I tried to get my son into it, but that little Roblox loving little son of a bitch will not finish World 1-1. And if you have kids, you understand.
Maybe if they recreate it in Roblox, he might.
I bet you he has beaten it in the recreation in Roblox, because I keep telling him about video games. Like, I did Roblox. Oh, stupid kid.
I have yet to see.
Probably Roblox. Has an idiot for a father.
Probably. Shane, what's your personal experience with the Super Mario Brothers?
Oh man, so it's kind of difficult to describe because it's obviously a very subjective experience. So it's going to be different for everybody, but I'm sure that most people could probably relate the way that our brains associate things with certain times in our lives. Mario Brothers, and sort of by extension Duck Hunt, because obviously we had the combo cartridge, but Super Mario Brothers like evokes certain feelings in me of like, but like scents, like like memories of like scents and like tactile feelings of like shag carpet. And, like it's like weirdly comforting in a way, I guess, because this is something.
The color orange is for some reason predominant.
Yeah, actually, it's funny you say that because that's exactly what I was picturing. But yeah, like the burnt orange. There's some avocado green somewhere, but
yes, I know exactly where you are right now.
See, there you go. And that's my point, is like, so for me, it's like I have these very specific things that are just sort of like intrinsically tied to memories of playing this game for the first time. And so, as I'm sure a lot of people know who have listened to the show for a while, I was the like oddball kid whose first console was a Sega Master System, of all things. And at some point, and I don't recall how or why or exactly when we did this, but we ended up trading out the Master System for an NES. And I don't know if we like straight up just traded with like somebody else we knew, or I have no idea how that happened. All I know is that at some point we didn't have a Master System anymore and we had an NES, and we really only had, I think, the combo cart and maybe one or two other games. And we collected a little more after a while. I actually distinctly remember going to garage sales already, like, and picking up like pre-owned cartridges for like a couple dollars, which was nice. Can't do that anymore. But yeah, so this was kind of like, and it was very different because even though the Master System was like my first console, you'd think that was like the thing that I'm like, oh man, I'm so like nostalgic for that. And like, it was so great. Spoiler, it kind of fucking wasn't. I mean, there were some okay games from the Master System. I won't say there aren't. Gangster Town represent, but
yeah,
the NES for me was really the first time where I just really got like really sucked into a video game, and it was because of this. Like, and also it's interesting because for me, I mean, both of my parents were never huge into games. Obviously, this was kind of like after they were already adults, and like, so they didn't like grow up with a lot of this. I mean, like my dad, I remember him playing two games, Centipede, because he really liked Centipede because he used to play it in the arcades when he was a bit younger, and this. And even then it was like, I have vague memories of him sitting down in the living room with me and attempting to play this, not being particularly good at it. But that was like the only thing I remember him ever like attempting to play as far as video games go. And then after that, it was all just kind of like my brother and I, like, that was our thing, was video games. So I guess in a roundabout way, it's like, I can't separate Super Mario Brothers from a lot of just like sort of core like childhood memories that my brain still actually holds on to, because I too am getting old and things just kind of fall out of there to make room for other things that I probably don't need to know, but you know, whatever, it's fine. So yeah, man, like, you know, at the risk of being like real fucking mushy and nostalgic, like, and I'll temper this a little bit when I complain about some shit in this game a little bit later, but at least on the surface, this game kind of means a lot to me personally, just because of those reasons. Like, it's just like an intrinsic part of how I really kind of like fell in love with video games.
I don't actually fully remember the first time I played this game. I knew when we got it, I think. I think it was Christmas of 1989. I know it was Christmas. I just don't know if it was 89 or 90. But I've settled on 89 just because I think we were in the first house that I grew up in with the child, and we moved when I was 5, which would put it in 1990. And I think I already had the NES by then. But I've also looked up the release date for the games that I got that Christmas, which was the Nintendo Entertainment System Action Set, which came with the Zapper and the Mario Duck cartridge, as well as Double Dragon 2. And then when I look up Double Dragon 2 release dates, it says January or February of 1990. So it like if I got Double Dragon 2 for Christmas in 1989, that was a huge street date break. And I was playing it super early, which back then was possible. It was possible back then. It's hard to place it. But anyway, I remember getting the NES that Christmas, and I think I've told this on the show before, but it's been a while. I thought it was a VCR. So you have to remember, like, Nintendo designed it so it would look like a VCR, and part of the multimedia experience in your home set. Essentially, like, Nintendo was trying to be Xbox back then. They didn't want to be the multimedia set, but they wanted it to be incorporated into it, so it looked natural. And my 5-year-old brain, even though it was well after the time that Nintendo was trying to make that pitch, associated with that, especially because the Double Dragon 2 box looked like a VCR box, and I thought it was a videotape, and I thought it was a game. So I still don't know what the reasoning was that my parents got a Nintendo. I asked my mom once, and she said it was because my dad was just into like tech and gear, which would make sense because he was a computer programmer, but he never was really into the games. And I briefly remember him playing with me from time to time, but not a lot, not like Super Mario Brothers. I don't remember that. And for all I know, just looking at the fact that, there's a house I went up to in Wisconsin every New Year's, and we played a lot of games there. And of course, we went there before I was 5. So the first game system I ever played could have been an Atari. I just don't remember it. But that could have been the reason they got me a video game system. But I don't know if it was the first game I played. I don't know if it's the first game I played for the NES. That could have been Double Dragon 2. It could have been Duck Hunt. But I do know I played a lot of it. And I do know I played it to the point where I thought I was pretty good at it. And my dad thought I was pretty good at it. I remember, I think it was the Nintendo World Championships competition that they had. I think it came to our mall. And I went there and I entered myself in it. Well, my dad entered me in it. You can't enter yourself in anything when you're 6, 7 years old. Tried playing it and embarrassed myself. I kept dying in World 1, 2 and falling off the ledge, which was, that's just embarrassing because no one dies there in Super Mario Brothers. So that's when I first learned that playing in front of people, I suck. That's how I learned that. I learned that early as a kid. So that's out of the way. Never got better, by the way. Until I beat it on stream in front of everybody. But yeah, it was a game that I was deeply familiar with. It was a game I know I spent a lot of time with, a game I loved. I think I moved past it a lot quicker than other people because in 1989, you got to think Super Mario Brothers 3 was out the next year. And so things were moving pretty rapidly. And to be honest, I remember playing a lot more Donkey Kong Jr. than I do the original Super Mario Brothers. That's more imprinted in my memory than that. But like every time I sit down and play it, it feels like I played the game so much. Like I know it like the back of my hand. I know it a lot less better now than I did when I was a kid. Because I remember I would beat it and then I would go through the second run where the beetles, where I think the Goombas or the turtles turned into beetles. And like the difficulties upped a little bit. So I knew I played it a lot. I know that was imprinted in my head. And it is a big part of my gaming development. It certainly is. It certainly helps solidify myself as a gamer. That is all there, much like you. A lot of the love for gaming stemmed from that experience and stemmed from this game. There's no doubt. But with those great stories, now it's time to talk about the plot of Super Mario Brothers, and we can dissect the story here. It's deep and engaging. So
do you have 2 minutes?
Yeah, I don't know. So let me go to the manual. This is probably going to extend it. I gotta pad this. We got to give each section some respect here. So I'm going to go to the manual here and I'm going to read the plot, which in the NES manual falls underneath the object of the game/game description. And it's not even called story at this point. What's a story in video games in 1985? Doesn't matter. This is what it says. One day, the kingdom of the peaceful mushroom people was invaded by the Koopa, a tribe of turtles famous for their black magic. The quiet, peace-loving mushroom people were turned into mere stones, bricks, and even field horsehair plants, and the mushroom kingdom fell into ruin. The only one who can undo the magic spell on the mushroom people and return them to their normal selves is the Princess Toadstool, the daughter of the Mushroom King. Unfortunately, she is presently in the hands of the great Koopa Turtle King. Mario, the hero of the story, parentheses, maybe, hears about the mushroom people's plight and sets out on a quest to free the Mushroom Princess from the evil Koopa and restore the fallen kingdom of the mushroom people. You are Mario! It's up to you to save the mushroom people from the black magic of the Koopa.
If you're ever going to retcon a story, this was the best one to do.
I like how hand wavy it was about Mario too. It's just like, yeah, he just fucking heard about it, you know? She saw the word on the street was the Mushroom Kingdom was in trouble. Like, really? Where?
Oh, yeah,
How?
He's out there plumbing a fucking toilet, and next thing you know, he's just like, oh my god, they weren't even. If you go further in the manual, they're not even the Koopa Troopas or the Turtle Gang or something like that. Turtle Empire, soldier of the Turtle Empire. Turtle Tribe. There
you go.
Turtle Tribe.
Sorry, it's the Turtle Tribe. And it's just amazing how this game set a lore, but it's been so evolved that it doesn't even exist anymore.
I wish that they kind of stuck with the established canonical lore from this first game that implies that all Koopas are capable of black magic, not just like magic Koopas or like comic or whatever.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I like the fact that every time you break a block, you're murdering a mushroom.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Although apparently, and I don't know if this is true because I was digging around for some of these little factoids too earlier, that like somewhere in the manual, maybe it clarifies that toads are only transformed into question mark blocks, which are unbreakable. So that skirts that issue, I guess.
I'm not going through the manual
Maybe.
to figure this out for us.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it. I'm not getting that deep into it. I'll find out later and see if there's truth to that. But it does certainly imply that because you are breaking bricks.
Here's one for you. Did you know Bowser, who was called the Koopa King in this game, was originally designed as an ox?
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. Like, I did not know that until I started diving into this a little bit. And it's like, wow, like it's amazing. Like, how do you have all these friggin' turtles and you decide the boss is going to be an ox? Like, Shigeru Miyamoto is considered a genius, but the guy is probably just lucky.
I mean, you know,
A lot of it's steeped in Japanese culture.
Yeah, it's true.
Like,
Fair point.
It was a
there.
reference to a 1960s anime, apparently.
yeah, it was like
Where they
Alakazam
wanted
the
to get
Great,
the idea
Yeah.
from.
I think.
Something like that. I thought they were going to say Dragon Ball because that would have made sense too, because you have the Great Ox King, who is Chi-Chi's father.
Well, I mean, I also like that, you know, I mean, Miyamoto was also just like, yeah, you know what? Actually, my design was complete fucking nonsense. Like, it's
Could have been
a turtle body with an ox head. Like,
Oh, it was.
what are we doing?
He originally wanted to have guns in the game. So
They wanted to have
So
shooter levels in the game.
So they settled
Yes.
on the bullet bills instead.
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Well, apparently,
What American's going to believe that a bullet bill is real?
yes. Well, they go to school. One of the things that you can see about
I'm gonna slink on that one.
one of the remnants from the shooter levels, like the shmup levels, is those lands that you go to with the beanstalk. Apparently, that's leftover information that they originally wanted to use before taking that out of the game, which is interesting.
Oh, like the cloud
But I will say,
levels?
like, yeah.
Okay.
But you can kind of see the ox design with Koopa's design, because that like does not look like natural turtle. Like there's not, it's off a little bit. I could see that being an ox. Also, like, it's not entirely retconned when you think about the fact that in Japan, Bowser's name is still Koopa. He's still King Koopa. So this is like, they did an accurate translation of his name while screwing up Peach's name, who is Princess Toadstool. And then they changed Koopa to Bowser and kept it Bowser, but eventually changed Toadstool back to Peach. Also, I fuck Toad for telling me that the princess is in another castle.
That's not Toad. That's one of the retainers, the 7 retainers to the kingdom of Princess Toadstool.
I don't care. They're all Toad.
Read the manual.
They're all Toad. It's like how all Moogles are Mog to Final Fantasy fans. No, they're not all Mog. Yes, they're all Mog.
I'll let you know a little secret. Tonight is the first night I've ever read the manual for Super Mario Brothers. I'm going to be very pretentious.
It is for me too. So
really, wow, okay,
yeah.
Well, when you're a kid, you don't read manuals.
I did.
You play video games. Somebody shoves a controller in your lap to shut you up.
Yes,
and you play.
Yes,
and you figure it out.
Although to be fair,
I did not read it as a kid.
Well, I did, but also to be fair, that was my bathroom reading material. So.
Like it became different later on when you would open it up and games became more complicated, like on the Super Nintendo, and you needed to know what every button did. But there's only like 2 buttons and a directional pad. So if they like a kid's gonna have a relative idea of how to use it.
Yeah, but how else are you gonna get all this hot lore, Chris?
Because that's what the kids care about.
Yeah,
is the lore. They want to know that they're killing mushrooms when they're breaking those
making
blocks.
It up themselves, that it's all going to be shoved into their face later in Super Mario RPG.
Yes, they're telling their parents, "Hey, I want to eat mushrooms so I can grow and see weird things too." And their parents look at them in horror during the Satanic Panic.
They're like, "We did that, but you can't."
Oh my God, Super Mario Brothers is a mushroom epidemic.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, is apparently legal in Canada because they have actual shops here that sell mushrooms.
I wish it was legal. Mushrooms are great.
Yes, they are a very healthy addition to any diet.
Yeah.
Okay, so diving deeper into the manual.
Oh, yes.
Mario is actually 3 feet tall. I don't know, maybe he's like 6'7", but the turtles are giant then. Because the manual calls Tiny Mario regular Mario, and then you got Super Mario, which is the grown version, then Fiery Mario, and of course Invincible Mario. But Mario, if you take him to the bushes, which grow to what, like 3 feet tall, Mario is about a 3 foot tall plumber.
So he's Italian.
Yes.
I'd say, well, that I just feel like that there's some implications there of how big the sprite is for Princess Peach too. That's just like, that's some snoo action right there.
Yeah. Step on me.
Oh my God. Jesus
I like
Christ,
I like how it's Fiery Mario and just not Fire Mario. Like he's fiery.
Oh no, yeah, he's super
he's
fiery.
Zesty
This is
Mario.
the beginning of LGBTQ. It wasn't just I'm going to shoot a fireball at you. I'm going to shoot a fireball at you at Queen.
I also have to check my sources because I was told the mushroom was a super mushroom, and in the manual it's a magic mushroom.
Oh, well, they probably retconned the shit out of that.
It should be.
Oh yeah, this whole manual is not applicable to today's Mario.
No. Starman.
Yeah, it lays a groundwork to Mario, but reality is, by Super Mario World, this was completely different.
Yeah.
You know, how
Actually,
can Nintendo betray?
3.
They betrayed the plot of Super Mario. We need to get back to its origins. People aren't taking this seriously enough.
Well, shit, man. I mean, if you want to go back to the origins, Mario was a carpenter.
I mean, Mario has many jobs. They have established this.
Yeah. He's a golfer.
Yeah.
You know, he's a pro soccer player. He's a artist.
Yeah, Jesus was a carpenter too, ergo Mario was Jesus.
Are you saying Mario died for our sins, Brian?
I mean,
Yes.
yeah.
Oh.
He did. He died, and then he came back because he had extra lives. He used the infinite life trick. But once he hit 128 lives, it rolled over, and he had to die forever.
Which is 12 times 12 minus 12 for Judas minus 4.
The Da Vinci
I don't know
Code.
where your math is coming from. but I like it.
I like how we talked. It's a good plot talk for Super Mario Brothers.
This always happens. I brought this up before on the show. Whenever we have something like a game we're talking about where we know we're trying to stretch, we just go off into the complete fucking left field.
Yeah, but all right, let me summarize the plot. A guy shows up
Jesus
for indescribable reasons.
Italian Jesus.
Apparently a rock moved out of the way of his cave and he's coming out and he's laying holy hell on the disbelievers to save Mary Magdalene?
Yeah, Mary Magdalene.
Yeah. Super Mario is the Crusades. Got it. All right.
So you're saying...
Define how it's not.
Are you saying that Coop is just a metaphor for the Persians?
Yeah. The barbarians.
Fucking religion solved. Let's combine them all.
Super Mario carrying St. George's cross into the Mushroom Kingdom.
Tell me Jesus wasn't on mushrooms all the time. Visions and stuff like that. Come on.
Well,
tell me.
I mean, mushrooms have healing properties.
That's
I've been
true.
told.
That is true.
I have been told. And you know, when you're on mushrooms, you might think that one fish looks like a lot more than one fish.
Yeah, and Jesus is a well-known hater of turtles.
It is known.
Oh my God, how much of your audience is alienated right now?
Hopefully all of them.
Oh shit. I mean,
Except
okay,
you.
not that I want
Yes,
to
you.
necessarily keep this thread going, but I mean, it does kind of line up if you remember the fact that they explicitly said that all of the Koopas practice black magic. I'm just saying.
That's true, because all the Persians did too.
It's witchcraft, man.
This is like Bible adventures on crack. Oh, this is probably the most offensive thing I've ever done.
Miyamoto's prior game to this was Devil World. So, I mean, there is a through line.
There we go.
That didn't even get released until 2023 because of Nintendo America's policy of non-religious games.
Yeah. And see, we needed it because it was a prequel to Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah. So Miyamoto was like, oh, fuck that. I'm going to make Mario Jesus.
Yeah.
And then Koopa the Devil.
Yes.
And then he's going to go through and he's going to lay holy hell on 8 worlds and then save Mary Magdalene.
Yeah.
And I have nothing to finish this with because I don't know the
that's why
Bible that
Koopa
well.
looks not so much like a turtle and looks more like maybe a lizard, or one might suggest a snake.
Oh.
Oh, here we go. All
right.
The fire flower is actually an apple.
We need to start a conspiracy podcast now.
Yes, the conspiracy of Mario Italian Jesus.
So I just want to mention one last point here. You know that fireball in all the castles actually has a name?
Really?
What is it?
Potaboo.
Potaboo.
I'm sorry, what now?
Potaboo. It's described as the protector of the great sorcerer Koopa King. He comes flying out of the lake of fire inside Koopa King's castle.
So he's
It is
sentient?
considered a character in this game.
Oh,
yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, the fireball that looks like a Metroid.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. It's Potaboo.
Oh my God, it is a Metroid.
I mean, they did reuse some sprites for Zelda. I mean, that's where like the fire, like the fuck are they? The bars of fire.
No, the bars of fire actually came from Zelda because they were making these games at the same time. The fire bars did not work in Zelda, so they imported them into Super Mario Brothers.
See? There you go. Also, you have Metroids.
Yeah, because you guys made me like nervous about this episode. I did a deep dive into it, and I actually made a special podcast about all the shit I found out that comes out after this episode because I'm like, Sam, I respect you.
Wow.
Thanks, Sam.
Dedication.
Take that, Sam, for talking shit about me on the Pokemon episode.
Ooh. Go listen to the Retrotopia. See what he's talking about.
Nothing
Nothing at all.
It's not that exciting.
Also,
anyway,
one last definitely not tenuous connection to Christianity whatsoever.
Sure?
Apparently, when Koji Kondo was composing this soundtrack, some of the music drew a lot of influence from a specific Japanese fusion band called T-Square, particularly their song entitled Sister Marion. And I shit you not, that's actually what it is.
We figured it out, everybody.
There it is.
It's been solved.
It's been 40 years, but
1
finally.
1 + 1 = 5, and it is done.
Mario, the slayer of the Ottomans.
That explains why my recliner doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go. I was trying to figure out a furniture joke, but you got to it before I did. So.
Okay. Moving on to the gameplay. Here we are. I don't even know what to say here. So, Shane, gameplay for Super Mario Brothers.
He is the jump man.
He is a jumping man.
If you didn't know. I mean,
Yeah.
God, what the fuck do I even say about Super Mario Brothers? I mean,
I know, like you
it's-
can't describe it. People know what the fuck it is.
I mean,
You can, because this is the game that introduced Coyote Time.
what?
People don't talk about that. Coyote Time is so common nowadays, but this is the game that really kind of introduced it.
Oh, you're talking about like the skidding.
Please don't.
Okay.
Yeah, where you walk off a cliff and you have like a half a beat to hit the jump button.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is true. That is a good point. I think that's part of why the game feels so like tight to play, is because you've got some of those things that you wouldn't have necessarily had otherwise. I mean, even to this day, and granted, you have to take it with a little bit of a grain of salt if you're not playing on original hardware, because emulation tends to introduce some input lag, however slight, depending on how you're doing it. Even official emulated releases still tend to have that. I never noticed it, but apparently the Super Mario All-Stars version of this game controls a little differently than the original, but I digress. Yeah, man. I mean, this is the blueprint for how to create a platformer, right? So, I mean, it's pretty good. I mean, I will say, if we're talking in terms of like difficulty curve, I have a secret. I have never beat this game, even to talk about it today, without save states. Haven't ever done it.
Oh, without save states. Okay.
Yeah.
But you have beat it.
I have beat it, yes, but I have never beat it legit. Like, I never beat it when I was a kid with my original NES, and I have never beat it since then. I always get, the farthest I have gotten legitimately is 8-4, but I have never actually finished it. I literally did a playthrough right before we started recording, because to get through this game, it takes like leisurely 15 or 20 minutes. And so I was like blasting through it. I made a point of not using any of the warp zones. We can touch on that, I guess, during this gameplay section, if people don't already know about that.
Can I ask you a question? Yeah. Did you use a walkthrough?
I don't know if you're joking, but no.
Okay, because their 8-4 has the
shitty pipe maze.
Oh, is it? Yeah, the pipe maze. That's a great way to explain it. So yeah.
There's 2 castle levels that have the direction maze.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have to take the certain path. Yeah.
Well,
yeah. So without like that's more acceptable that you didn't use a walkthrough, because it can be pretty hard there if you're on a time limit.
Oh, absolutely.
When I played it on stream, I beat it a little over an hour, and I did have to consult a guide to know the correct path for those 3 levels. I'm not. Yeah. I already say I use guides. I have no shame. Yeah. I don't care.
Well, yeah, and so I mean, I guess since we're talking about them, that's actually one of my probably bigger gripes about the game, is that it feels cheap, because the vast majority of this game, for all of the like great game design that it has, that whole like show don't tell, it introduces mechanics in a pretty intelligent way. It sets you up with this expectation over like 80% or more of the game of like, hey, you will succeed if you are good at this. If you get good at jumping, avoiding enemies, precision, etc., you will succeed. And then there's just these like couple of castle levels that are just like, Or how about you go fuck yourself, because we're not going to tell you shit about this. Like it is literally just trial and error. And it is supremely frustrating because it feels like you got sucker punched. Like for at least for me, and I'm sure it's different for everybody, first few or one or two or whatever it is that have like the different, I'm going to call them hallways, even though it's a, side scroller, but whatever. It's either bottom, middle, or top, right? And you have to pick the right pattern. I could sort of trial and error those without too much consternation. Those weren't really terrible for me. But the 8-4 castle, that pipe maze, can eat a dick. That thing sucks. And if you're not using a walkthrough, it's like it's built to just kill whatever lives you happened to make it to the end of the game with in like the most infuriating way possible.
I would agree with almost all of that. One thing is that the levels that require precision platforming, or even the more difficult levels that are not the memorization based, or you need to figure some MacGuffin out in order to make it through, especially like 8-4 in particular, they can be challenging, they can be frustrating, but they feel fair. And I actually have enjoyment out of those levels. I'll get frustrated, yeah, because surprisingly, like Super Mario Brothers is a much difficult game than a lot of people remember. And I think that's, because so many people just played it a lot as a kid and they don't remember struggling through it, or they thought I was a kid, I struggled through it, but now that I'm older, it's probably a lot easier. No, I mean, it's pretty damn difficult.
Well,
it's not Ninja Gaiden, but it is pretty damn difficult.
Well, I think there's a couple things that factor into that too. Like one is that if anyone else was like me, as soon as you learned about the warp zones, I never played any of the other levels again.
True.
For the most part. So that also makes it feel really easy because you're basically skipping most of the game. And then the other part of it is like, I would go out on a limb and say that as kids, a lot of us probably didn't make it to the end of the game. So all we remember is like playing the first 3 worlds, and that's it, right? And you're like, oh yeah, that's a fun little game. It's a good time. But then once you get about to like world 7 or so, it's just like, oh right, no, this game's actually hard.
Well, see, here's the thing. I knew I did, because I remember as a kid, I played the replay with the Beetle characters in place of the Koopas or the Goombas, one of the two. Because I found out about that naturally. But the thing is that the levels where like you have the platforming challenges, because there are some platforming challenges you look at and you're like, what the fuck? Like, how am I supposed to do this? But they're doable and you can learn them and they're fun. But then you get to those castle levels and they're like, yeah, just navigate it. It's like this. Yeah, this isn't fun. This feels like a fuck you, where it just like it requires almost a previous knowledge of getting it right before in order to do it again. As opposed to, okay, the challenge is there, I need to figure it out. It's not really so much a challenge as it is luck and RNG. And that's where those areas fall apart. But aside from, I think it's 4-4, 6-4, and 8-4. I might be wrong on that. I think there might be earlier, but I think it's 4-4 when they first get introduced. Aside from those castle levels, I do think the levels are very expertly designed. And you say this is the template, and you're right. It is the template. And you could go back and you could say, well, you have Pitfall, you have Pitfall 2. I think Pitfall 2 is a lot closer to like really what the evolution of the platformer was. You have some Lode Runner, Donkey Kong, obviously, Donkey Kong Jr. But this is the game that people emulated for a reason. And it is because it really introduced that momentum that apparently came from Excite Bike, which is fascinating. I did not know this prior to preparing for this episode, but Excite Bike's influence on this game, and the momentum based platforming, and like I think the fact that you could run over gaps in a floor if you held just holding down the run button, that was extremely novel in 1985. We all know that's true now, so it's not as novel, but like these concepts, they're brilliant, and for the most part, these concepts still feel fun, and they still feel very smartly designed today.
Yeah.
Brian, what do you think of
like both you've basically summarized the entirety of this. I'm going to say that World 1-1, it's been called the template for tutorials. because World 1-1 teaches you everything you need to know about the game. Like the first enemy you run into, you either jump or die. You get the blocks, you get the mushroom, you get a fire flower, you get a Starman, which is the dumbest name ever.
Mm-hmm.
But like World 1-1 guides you through it, because you think about it, the first, the blocks, you jump up and then there's like ground beneath it, you jump over it, then the next one there's a hole. Well, it teaches you everything you need to know. World 1-2 is obviously the underground. I believe 1-3 is the first water world. So by the time you enter World 2, you should know everything you need to know about the game. But you're right, the castles are the wild card in this game, and it's almost unfair if you don't know what you're doing, or if you don't know it's a continuous level until you go down a pipe or you find the right path. It's disingenuous. It's meant to make the level artificially hard, but at the same time, it's also a brilliant thing of design where they added something that you completely did not expect. And games do that all the time nowadays. Like they teach you how to play the game, then they throw a curveball at you. The controls are very precise. I mean, for current Mario games, one of my biggest beefs is Mario is very greasy on the ground. So when you jump, you land and you slide a little bit, but this game was very precise. You landed. There's a ton of secrets in this game that are still being discovered to this day. Like, if you get 23 coins in World 1-1, there's a 1-up in World 1-2, right at the beginning, hidden. If you don't get 23 coins, you get 22 or 24, that 1-up doesn't exist.
I did not know that.
It's something I learned, when I dove into this game. Something I haven't actually tried, so I can't say from personal experience it exists, but it's on my list as something to do in the near future just to confirm if it actually does exist. But I found multiple sources that says this happens throughout the game. There's levels, you get a certain amount of coins and you get a secret 1-up in the subsequent level. So for gameplay, it is the benchmark of platformers. I can't say anything negative about that because you're taking 1985 technology, a 40 kilobyte cart on the NES, and if you compare it to today's games, like if you compare it to Metroidvanias like Hollow Knight and stuff like that, all these games are influenced by Super Mario Brothers. And that's where the game shines. Where the game kind of fails is those levels that, without warning, without prompting, change the physics where you have to hit certain paths. So there is a negative to this game. But it was always trial and error. And I think it wasn't until I got Nintendo Power that I finally learned how to beat 8-4.
And that kind of does go to the arcade roots.
Yeah.
And there was Excite Bike, which they had like a quasi arcade release for that, but that was an entire Famicom NES release. But pretty much all the other games that they worked on stemmed from the arcades. Donkey Kong arcade original, Donkey Kong Jr. arcade original, Kung Fu, as you mentioned, which was an IREM port from an arcade game. Even though Nintendo ported it, that's an arcade original. So like their previous experience, and even the fact that the entire architecture for the NES/Famicom, specifically the Famicom, was to port arcade games and make them as close to arcade perfect as they could. That was the objective for a lot of consoles at the time, is to bring the arcade experience home. And whatever wasn't an arcade game, like it's something just that we're having free time to do. That kind of shifted a little bit or a lot in 16-bit era, particularly with Nintendo. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's, what's it called? Nintendo Versus. You can see it on the Nintendo Switch Online. Mm-hmm. There's Excite Bike Versus.
Yes.
Which was an arcade game that was released to garner interest in North America to see if the Famicom would actually do well here.
Yes. Well, Mario Versus. There's a Versus Mario as an arcade game too.
Yeah, and it was because of the success of these arcades that the NES actually exists.
Mm-hmm. No, 100%. So I think a lot of those aspects that we're complaining about here And I think those complaints are valid, by the way. I stand by these being poor game design features. I think they're looked at not so negatively back then and for a while, because getting screwy levels and getting stupid, fucked up design philosophies was just, that was the style at the time, as one would say. That was something that gamers expected. They expected to get fucked with a little bit. They expected to lose a lot of lives and get punished. That was just what gamers were into. They were big masochists, which probably explains some things. But when today it's not as palpable. It's definitely not. So like going back to that now, yeah, that's unfortunate. But I mean, that's just a sliver of the entirety of the game, where I think, the difficulty curve, Shane, you says it's a little steep. I think the difficulty curve is almost perfect. I think that it gives the player enough over the course of the game that nothing is insurmountable by the time you get to it. Especially if you're going level by level by level. Now, if you use your warp zones, yeah, of course the difficulty curve is going to kick you in the nuts. You're supposed to be playing it straight through. And if you're not doing that, yeah, it's going to hit you pretty hard. And I think that's incredibly fair if that's the approach that you're taking to it. But overall, I didn't have a problem with it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll agree to disagree on that one, because I feel like it's a pretty smooth curve up until about, I'm going to say World 6-ish, but it really starts to kick in World 7 for sure, where, like, to me, again, subjective, but to me, it's like right around that portion of the game, suddenly it goes from like okay, like this is getting a little bit more to just like, oh, all right, now I'm actually like for instance, just as a completely anecdotal thing here, like my run through of the game right before doing this episode, I did not die once until I got to World 6. So
yeah,
that's just you getting good, son.
Yeah, I mean that's also probably true. Yeah.
Oh, also, if you lose your fire flower in a water level, the water levels rear their fucking ugly gnashing teeth at you.
Nah, man, you just gotta swim at the surface the entire time.
Water levels are fucking mean, man. If you don't have the fire flower, I'm pretty sure
this is the game that made me hate water.
Yes,
like water levels in any game.
I don't think they're that bad. I like the water levels until I lose the fiery Mario. Then they're not fun.
They're fun to begin with.
And you don't get any power-ups in there.
Well, obviously, fire flowers can't grow underwater, Chris.
Oh, mushrooms can.
Yes, they can.
Well, yeah, that makes sense.
So where are the mushroom power-ups?
Game check. Oh, fuck. Game set match.
The cheaps ate them.
You know what? You want to know there's no bricks under there, because we have established the bricks are the mushrooms.
Ah.
And no mushrooms, the toads. And that's why they're, because if they were under there, that would imply that they were dead already before they were turned into bricks, because they would drown.
There you go.
Oh my God. Like we're getting right into it right now. Like this is getting real.
It's getting real.
So I will say on the flip side of some of the critiques, I did just want to expand a little bit on what we were talking about earlier as far as the level design and sort of like the flow of it, because I do just want to highlight it, because it is incredibly satisfying that once you get a good grasp of how many of these levels are laid out, it feels, even to this day, it still feels real good to be able to run nonstop from one end of a level to another without stopping or breaking, because like where everything is, and everything is placed in such a way that if you are capable of doing that, you can basically enter this like flow state from beginning to end, and it feels really good. And like that was something that was largely unprecedented at that time too, which I think is part of what really sucked a lot of people into this. And a special shout out to the flying cheap levels, by the way, because I have to imagine this was done on purpose. There's no way this was an accident. If you begin running as soon as the level starts, and you do not stop. So you are basically like, if you think of like the original NES controller, that little fucking rectangular thing, and you are holding the run button with your thumb, and then with like the sort of like joint of your thumb, you are like levering down to hit the A button to jump. If you can do that and you just don't stop, you can avoid just barely, and it gets real butt clenchy, but like you can avoid every single one of the cheap cheeps that jump up on those levels all the way through. And it feels so good to do that.
I love those levels. I fucking love those levels.
Yeah, it rewards boldness.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. And that's why I love it. It's just continuously running, continuously moving forward, just feeling like you're getting attacked, but just knowing if you keep moving, you're probably going to survive. I love those levels. The cheap sheet levels are probably among my favorite.
I really wish Sega made a character that would do that and not stop every 5 seconds. Looking at you, Sonic.
No, man.
Can you imagine?
It's a real platformer. You can't just run from one end to the other.
Yeah, that's the funny thing. It's Mario who goes fast and Sonic who actually has to do the platforming.
It's an Iceland, Greenland situation.
Well, I think we've talked about the gameplay enough, the warp pipes, all that stuff. Secret areas. We didn't talk about secret areas.
One last thing. I just want to say that it sucks real bad to be like full-fledged fiery Mario, and when you get hit, you just go straight back down to tiny bro. Like there's no in between. They
kept that in Mario 3 too, right? In the Japanese version of Mario 3, if you're Raccoon Mario or Fiery Mario or whatever, and you get hit, you go back to Little Mario. But in the United States version, the North American version, I should say North American because you are not from the United States, Brian. So I have to respect your presence. But if you get hit, okay, fine, I won't. But if you go back to you go back to Big Mario. So, but they did retain that. Like that's the Japanese Mario thing.
Mm.
Remember, it's not Small Mario. It's just Mario.
That's true.
Regular Mario, and Big Mario is Super Mario.
3'2", respect the height.
he goes from being Italian to Nordic.
Mario, the original short king.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of graphical appearances, let's get into the visual presentation of Super Mario Brothers. Brian, what do you think?
Well, let's take the obvious that this game is obviously dated. It's from 1985, so it's going to look like a game from 1985. But let's look at the brilliance inside of the game. We all know by this point that the bushes and the clouds are the exact same sprites recolored.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Because it saves space. The limited palette, like Mario himself, is this tiny, tiny sprite. And they added the mustache and the hat to reduce the amount of sprites they had to use, which became iconic. For the character Mario. And Luigi, obviously, before he became the taller than Mario, super high jumping leg kicking Super Mario Brothers 2 Doki Doki Panic character, he was just a recolored sprite, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you take into context the Nintendo Entertainment System or the Famicom if you want. This game changed how we looked at video games when I was a kid. And again, I told you, like at the beginning of this whole episode, I said I viewed games in black and white on the Atari 2600 because black and white TVs were still cheap. People still could hook up the video game system on their old black and white TV in the den. And that's what they would stick their kids on so they could go watch their Archie Bunker or whatever the fuck our parents watched.
Porn.
Yeah, when you saw this game for the first time, the vibrant colors, the limited color palette, so they had to really pick and choose. It was actually mind-blowing for little tiny Brian.
Mm.
And that was a time when Brian was actually tiny.
Yeah,
like
you weren't
today.
regular Brian?
Yeah. Regular Brian is working on that. We'll get back down to it.
So you're just super Brian.
You're just Super Brian now. That's all.
Yeah. We'll call it that. A lot of mushrooms.
I think if you want to compare it to the games around it at the time, then yes, Super Mario Brothers looks good. Because what was like the black box titles for the NES at the time, they did not look particularly good. I could probably make the argument that Donkey Kong Jr. looks a little bit better than Super Mario Brothers, but then again, Donkey Kong Jr. was a single screen game, so they didn't really have to do as much. The background was all black. You didn't really have to have any sort of detail at all to the environments. Of course, there's no parallax scrolling or any attempt here. There wasn't enough space on the cartridge. There's no MMC chips. And even if you compare it to Metroid, I think this game looks better than Metroid, which is a Famicom Disk System game. I think in many respects, I think it looks better than Castlevania, which I think is an accomplishment because I actually think Castlevania does a really good job of trying to use the color wheel and the color spectrum in order to put that game together. And I think in terms...
Cut you off.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
You off really quickly. I was doing a game development course last year, and Castlevania came up as one of the best early designs in video games.
I would agree. But I think in terms of being visually appealing to the more casual eye, I think Mario is more appetizing. Not to say not to diminish Castlevania's accomplishment, because I think you're right. I think the design is fantastic. But if I'm talking about what I look at and I find more visually appealing immediately off, if not in terms of detail, but immediately, what would I rather stare and look at? I think Mario is a better example, even though I can tell you it's not as technically advanced. That being said, the Famicom, the NES, what have you, the game's got a hell of a lot better after this. To compare Super Mario Brothers to Super Mario Brothers 2 USA or Donkey Donkey Panic, of course, or Super Mario Brothers 3, and it pales in comparison. The leap is gargantuan. So I don't think Super Mario Brothers looks particularly great. I think that it's the fact that it's very iconic carries it a long way. But if I think it wasn't as iconic, would people necessarily look at it and give a shit? Probably not. I don't think they would. I think the fact that it was so many people's first video games is what gives this game's visuals a lot of grace. That being said, this is the game that I grew up on, so it doesn't bother me whatsoever. I think most people would feel the same way. But no, it's not a looker. It's not a looker, but a lot of context needs to be there. But no, it's not that great looking of a game. Just look at Bowser. He looks like shit. And look at Princess Peach. She looks busted, man. She looks like whatever her name is. I don't give a shit. She's Princess Botox in this game for all I care. Looks like she jammed all those needles in her fucking face. Shane?
Well, before Shane gets into it,
go ahead, Brian.
Something I wanted to bring up actually in gameplay that I kind of forgot about. 1985. This game is considered the game that saved home consoles from the game collapse of 1983. It's kind of one of those things, either a game, whether it was this or something else, would be considered the greatest game of all time because of that, or all games would fail and we would be sitting here not knowing each other in 2 different locations or 3 different locations. I don't know you guys' history, but so it's just kind of one of those things. We glorified this game because we consider it the most important game in video games because it is literally the Rosetta Stone of video games. So it might be a bad analogy there because that's about language, but it's literally the game that is considered the one to save video games.
Yeah, Mario Jesus.
It is the Jesus. Yeah, Mario
Jesus. Yeah.
So anyway, sorry to Shane. Go on, please. I just had to get that out. I have my senior moments.
No, that's fine. It's a better segue than talking about how Peach is taking a lot of Botox. So thank you. I'll take that one.
I mean, look at her.
Peach.
Look at her, Shane. Look at her.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I did. Yeah,
definitely the lip fillers.
Yeah, wow. Yeah. I mean, I don't even really. I think this might be the first time where I can't even really come up with something just off the cuff to say about it. It's It's Mario, man. Like, are the graphics great? Fucking no. But again, I mean, at the time, this was crazy. I mean, even somebody who already had a full color system in the Sega Master System, just comparatively, to me anyway, I technically, I'm probably completely fucking wrong, but I don't care, because subjectively to me, this was totally different. And I think it was just sort of like the package deal, of like how the game felt to play, sort of in a way influence how I felt about how it looked, et cetera, et cetera. But I don't think there's ever been a greater delta between early and late stage like releases of a console than this. Like, and Chris, you brought it up, like taking Super Mario Brothers and putting it side by side with Super Mario Brothers 3. I shit you not, there were times when I was younger where I could have sworn that they were on different systems just because of how they look.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, we spend a lot of time talking about how sprite-based games age really gracefully, and generally speaking, they do, but this is still kind of rough. But with what they were working with, I think it's still pretty impressive. And I would think that I would, because we don't have a section for this necessarily, typically in our show structure, but I think it warrants mentioning again, because I think it was brought up before, that this entire game takes up less space than like a JPEG.
Mm-hmm.
And the way in which they implemented it, rather than storing the entirety of the game in memory, they came up with this, pretty ingenious, especially at the time, system for sort of almost dynamically loading the levels, based on like memory locations. That I think is really the thing to point out here, is that is it a real looker? No, but what they accomplished with what they had, I think, is definitely something to be commended. It's also the reason why you get some real funky shit that you can do, like the hot swapping of like a Zelda cartridge to get like something like 256 extra like bizarro levels in Mario, just because of the way that it accesses memory locations.
That was tennis.
The tennis, I think you could do it with Zelda too, but yeah.
Oh, probably, yeah. We're not talking a complex system here.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Mm. Yeah, that's about it. I don't really think I have too much more to say on sort of like the presentation.
Okay. But we are going to continue on with the presentation and get into the music and sound, or just the audio presentation here. I'll start with this one. It's iconic. It's iconic. There's 4 songs, I think.
Let's see. You've got the normal level, the underground, water,
underground,
castle,
and
technically the star power / cloud levels.
Yeah. So 5?
Something like that.
And you have the ending song.
Oh, yeah.
And for each castle. So I guess 7. So they're good. Koji Kondo does a great job here. And I guess if you go on YouTube, you'll find a lot of similarities to other songs that are coming out at the time. Is all art is derivative, of course. It's not quite plagiarism, I guess. I don't know. I don't want to make any plagiarism claims. I did that in Final Fantasy VI, and then I tried to find the example. Said, "Oh, there's plagiarism." And I looked for it, and I couldn't find it. So Koji Kondo is doing everything original here. There's
all homages.
Yeah. There you go.
I mean, there might be some homages here and there. It's not like just ripping it straight from Motorhead or whoever this time. That didn't happen. But I think that, music's iconic. The sound is like really good. The sound, I don't have any problems with the way this game sounds at all. I think maybe that's a big nostalgia bomb. But I think audio presentation is important when it comes to defining a game and how it feels. And I think that is one of the major reasons that Mario Brothers did hit the home run it did, is because, I mean, from an audio standpoint, it's like, I'm not going to sit here and says it has the best soundtrack of all time, but I will say just the way that the presentation is given to the player, I'm going to say it's flawless.
Well, and I think it also depends on, like, you got to think about some of the things that now we tend to take for granted. One thing that comes to mind is like the choice that was made for the sound effect that is used when Mario throws a fireball. And the reason I highlight that is because it makes no fucking sense logically.
No,
it's fire. And so why would you get like a plink plink noise? But if you really think about it, what would the alternative have been? It would have probably been the soundbite that you get from, well, yeah, but it would probably be the soundbite that you get when Bowser, or I'm sorry, King Koopa, shoots fire, because that sounds like more like fire. But then if you think like just logically about it, that sound effect every time Mario throws a fireball would suck. So, you know, I think that, again, it's kind of less about, to me, it's less about the thing itself, like the sound itself, though I do like the sound design in this game. And it's more about sort of like the thought process and like the mechanics that like really went into making it happen the way that it did. Like the thoughtfulness that went into the design, I think, is what's more important to me.
Yeah, it's simplistic, which is what makes it so great. And the limited NES hardware is kind of what made it simplistic. There wasn't a lot of options. I think you had 3 channels at best. And Koji Kondo really nailed it. And the main theme, which is, I guess, is called the ground theme, which I found out is actually now part of music legend, because it's been adopted into the Library of Congress, and it sits like there with like Beethoven's Fifth Symphony and a whole bunch of other songs. So it is ingrained into history. And I don't know a person.
That's wild.
Like even people who don't play video games who hear that and don't understand that it's Mario. And I know for like something I read online is kids recognize Mario more than they recognize Mickey Mouse now. Mario is so iconic that they know about this. And my kid who's 11, who's played Super Mario Brothers once before I had to, you know, try to goad him into it, doing it again, which he's never done. He knew about this song before I even put him down. He goes, "Oh, that's where this song came from." It's insane, like how legendary the soundtrack is. And it's still used. Like you said, the plunk for, or no, what would you call the fire flower noise? No, was it a plunk or a popper?
I think I went with plunk.
It's been a minute.
But yeah.
Plank.
Sure.
Plank. Yeah, okay, that's the word I'm looking for. A plank. And it's continuously being used throughout, you know, Mario games as that sound effect. They never updated it. So this game kind of created that sound for Mario. You know, the jump, the fire flower, the star song, all that kind of stuff derived from this game. It's where this game shines. The repetitive tone, of course, of the music is really iconic, because it's been proven that video game music that's repetitive like this helps you focus if you're studying or something like that. And I think you guys also missed the fact that out of all those 7 songs you mentioned, you forgot the last minute version of them where they speed it up.
That's true. Yeah.
Making a total of 14 songs.
Well, the thing you bring up about repetitive is sometimes when a musical theme gets repetitive, it gets old and people want to stop hearing it. I don't get that with the Super Mario Brothers soundtrack.
It sits in the back of your brain, but never tickles the anger button.
No. I also think another thing that I appreciate about the sound here, and I think, Shane, you tapped into this for me with the fire sound. You know, it doesn't sound like a fireball. You get the feeling that the people making this game understood they were making a video game, and they understood that they had to have some sort of abstract representations of reality, because you couldn't represent sounds 100% accurately. So you had to create sounds that would sound reasonable and believable and acceptable for a suspension of disbelief for the player. And I think that's where the real accomplishment comes from. Like, what sound do you get in real life when you jump on a turtle? It's not a high,
I hope
like,
nobody knows
ping
that,
sound.
but
Well, I'm sure people do. I don't. And I don't want to find out. But I'm certain it doesn't sound like it does in Super Mario Brothers. I'm sure when you throw a turtle shell against a wall, it doesn't have like a dunk and come back. I mean, it might, depending on the wall you throw it at.
This requires scientific experimentation.
Let's not. I don't want to do that. I love turtles.
Just Mythbuster this
I
shit.
love turtles. Yeah.
You make a great zombie.
But they knew how to make the proper sounds. I think that comes from their arcade backgrounds of just having to, be creative when it came to abstract representations of reality. And I think that really shows through in the sound design, because you have to think outside the box when it comes to how you're going to make things sound in these games, because they can't sound realistic. And I think that, again, we've said it's like a baseline for platformers. I think in terms of sound design for games at this point, and I know I'm probably ignoring a lot of games that could also get this credit, because, that it's easy to ignore a lot of those games when this is like the game that established an era for a lot of people. But this is it. I'm not saying it's the first. I'm not saying it's the best, but it is the standard bearer for what sound design was moving forward at that time.
Yeah. Yeah. And so there's a couple other things that I wanted to point out. One being another one of those like attention to detail things that I really appreciate. And you probably wouldn't ever think of it, really. I wouldn't have remembered this if I hadn't just played it again. But the fact that the jump sound is modulated down to be like a lower, I guess I'm going to go with octave. That's probably wrong, but basically modulated down when you are Super Mario and therefore bigger is like a really great attention to detail moment. Like it's a higher pitch when you are smaller. And again, it's not something that you think about, but like it when you do notice it, you're just like, oh yeah, that totally makes sense. And also, well, quick correction, by the way, because I double checked, it is Tetris that you can do the cart swap with for the extra weirdo levels. So I was wrong. It's not Zelda, it's Tetris.
And I was wrong as well, and I will admit that.
There you go. See, we are not above admitting that we are wrong most of the time. The other thing is, I just want to point out that apart from you have only like less than a minute or whatever left, and so we're going to speed the music up thing, because that's anxiety in itself. But the castle theme, man, you want to talk about a song that is crafted to just like press that anxiety button. It's that fucking song, dude. Like, I remember being a kid and playing this game, and every time I would get to a castle, I would feel it's like you could feel it. It's like your hackles just go up. You're just like, okay, we're here now. And it's a whole vibe. And it's, like you could use that in any scenario where you're trying to impart a feeling of anxiousness. And even if no one's played Mario before, they would be like, yeah, no, that fits. That definitely fits.
I was just going through some of my notes about the sound and the music. And one of the things I noted is Koji Kondo actually developed the original theme that did. It's actually timed to Mario's movements.
Mm-hmm.
It's part of teaching you how to move. And if you continuously move with the music, it rhythmically teaches you how to jump, move, dodge, and all that kind of stuff. It is a brilliant way to trick the player into figuring stuff out.
Interesting. I was not aware he did that.
Like, especially for a 1985 game. You'd expect that in this era, where people have like rhythmic games that teach you, or not teach you, but require you to be on rhythm. Like, what's it called? The one that came out there, the RPG that the studio got, fired by Microsoft. Not High on Life. Hi-Fi Rush.
Hi-Fi Rush, yeah. I was about to say Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, but I know it wasn't that. Hi-Fi Rush, yeah. All right. I think we went into full praise mode, full gush mode.
Oh my God.
Which is fine. I was expecting that at some point, but we did it. But now we're going to hear from our patrons as part of our patron pontifications. And they get to put in some thoughts towards the episode. And if you also want to provide some thoughts towards the episode, first of all, we're still not a large enough show where we're going to shun anyone's thoughts, so long as they don't write a novel. If that happens, well, you're on notice because of last time. But for the meantime, we're not large enough to delete anyone's comments, so you can join our Patreon. Put it over on the Patreon page when we post for the pontifications, or head over to our Discord channel, which is free to everybody, but we have our own special patron channels where you can put in your thoughts for patron pontifications when they get posted. So first, this is the first comment, I think, ever in the history of patron pontifications from Patreon. Or was it dual posted on Patreon and Discord? This is exclusively from Patreon. And this comes from B. Ross, who is from the Super Garbage Day podcast.
Love him.
And we're starting off spicy with him saying it's a 6 out of 10 game.
Don't love
It's
him.
incredibly important to video game history,
Love
but
him.
not really that fun.
Don't love him.
Yeah.
Mario
I'm
is
neutral.
mid.
Love the show. Don't like the opinion.
Mm.
All right. Well, let's see. Next up,
Thanks, B. Ross.
yeah. Thank you. Thank you for using the Patreon.
We appreciate
Next, we've got Keith from the Main Quest podcast, who I
him.
also just recorded a guest spot with him recently, which was a lot of fun.
Hate it.
Thanks. Yeah, terrible show.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, anybody that would let me on is questionable taste. But he says
Yes.
he's never heard of it. It's pretty bold to cover such an underground game. Hope the discussion's good. Doubt this one will ever catch on. I mean, you're probably right. Yeah. So
That's
thank
why I
you.
love
Probably
coming on
right.
this show. You guys cover the rare ones.
We
Yeah,
do.
Go for
We
the
do.
obscure. Yeah.
Sega Boy 7. Super Mario Brothers, there's not a whole lot you can say about this one that hasn't already been said. So how about this? This game proves Toad has always been annoying from the start. Him and his "your princess is in another castle" BS. Man, screw that guy. That's a hot
Are you
take.
going to correct him, Brian? That they're not all Toad?
They're not all Toad. They are the friggin' 7 court jesters or court something or others.
Retainers?
Retainers, thank you. God.
Yeah, retainers.
That's what happens when I drink during these shows. But
Yeah, they're retainers. She
they're
puts them in her
retainers
mouth.
to Princess Peach.
Or canonically, the mushroom cap is actually a hat and not his head.
Did you know that's considered a friggin' Easter egg in this game? Is that it's not the real princess through 1 through 7? Like originally, like the concept was you beat Koopa King, and you'd see that print or like the tone. It's like your princess in another castle. But Koopa King is not actually Koopa King because if you beat him with fireballs, he turns into one of the common enemies.
True.
Yeah.
That was considered a friggin' Easter egg.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, because you kill only if you kill with the fire flower, though. Oh, by the way, we never said it, but fuck Hammer Bros.
Oh,
Fuck them.
yeah. Yeah, I didn't even bring that up,
I don't know.
but that's also part of the reason I hate, what is it, World 8-3. They just throw those guys
They're
just
another-
directly at you.
That's another Easter egg. Hammer Bros. It was the first time in like Nintendo history that an enemy would come at you. Because normally they just sit in a pattern, but if you wait, Hammer Bros will actually rush you.
That's true.
Ah.
Just fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
Assholes.
Take that, Sega Boy.
Take that. Next is from Masked Keaton, our high score curator, I guess. I don't know. He is the person who does our high score challenge. Masked Keaton does a great job. And Masked Keaton says, the first time I got to the correct path dungeon, I didn't realize it was repeating. I just thought it was a really long dungeon. I was a dumb kid. Thank you, Masked Keaton. Yeah, that was all of us.
Yeah,
Yep.
so I don't think
Yep.
you were the only one.
It's terrible.
No,
Yeah, it was terrible. It's still terrible.
There's a lineup. You got to get in the back.
Yep.
Yep.
Let's see. Next we have Alt, who says Super Mario Brothers is a special game, but I mostly know it from my time with the Game Boy Color version. I've beaten it on NES before, but I never owned one. I used to play the game on keyboard a lot in college class. Holy shit. I appreciate Super Mario Brothers, but I'd never call it my favorite game or anything because I grew up in the 16-bit era, which had Super Mario World and Sonic 2 and Gunstar Heroes, etc., etc. I have a fun time with it, at least whenever I boot it up. Thank you, Alt.
All right.
Hey, fun stuff. We just covered Gunstar Heroes probably the same time this comes out.
There's your plug.
Yay!
Retrotopia.
All right, we got Matt, a.k.a. Stormageddon, Fun and Games Reignite Podcast. Check it out. First console I got that was completely mine was the NES that came with one controller, a zapper, and the combo card Duck Hunt and Super Mario Brothers. The nostalgia is deep on this game. I replayed it a few years ago, and while there are many better platformers out there now, I still had a lot of fun playing it. This is the game that started my lifelong love of Nintendo and Super Mario Brothers series. Can't say it better myself.
Yeah, very well said. Thank you, Matt.
Except for that duck and dog, which I still thrive to kill. I love dogs. Only one dog I want to physically hurt is the duck hunt dog.
Well, to give you some peace of mind, to put you at ease, he is over 40 years old, so he's probably dead.
No, because he haunts my dreams.
Oh, he's the Candyman dog now.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Right. Next is Lethco from the Afterglow podcast. And they say, I started with an Atari 2600 and enjoyed it. But the NES is what locked in my lifetime of gaming. And like many others, mine was packed in with Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt. So I spent many hours exploring the Mushroom Kingdom to take down Bowser, King of the Koopa. That's what the manual called him at the time, at least. Granted, the manual also says that people of the Mushroom Kingdom were turned into bricks, meaning Mario would be quite the villain as he busts a lot of bricks in his journey. But I digress. Super Mario Brothers built on an old side view before they were scrolling. Games such as Pitfall and even more modern takes such as Pac-Land, which was released the year before Super Mario Brothers. That's right, Pac-Land was pretty revolutionary. It's goofy and dorky as fuck, but it was revolutionary. Anyway, now I'm digressing in someone else's digression. Sorry, Lethco. To give us faster gameplay combined with a sense of exploration that a young kid like me couldn't resist. Closing with a bit of a hot take, I didn't like Mario 2 as much and rejoiced when I got Mario 3 as I felt it was a return to form, but on a much larger scale. Thank you, Lethco. It was a much
larger scale. The cartridge was 10 times the size.
Yes, because of the MMC chip.
Exactly.
And also it was a return to form because Mario 2 was Doki Doki Panic. So there you go. At least for most of us.
Yeah. Yes.
That's a Doki Doki fact.
All right. Next up, we have the Emperor, who says Super Mario Brothers is what introduced me to video gaming while my family was living overseas. I spent countless hours playing that game when I was little and still play it to this day. The Emperor highly recommends this game, which is suitable for anyone to pick up and play. I find myself coming back to it to this day to get that shot of nostalgia. The dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural. Thank you, Emperor.
Spooky. We have Randall. This is the game about two Brooklyn plumbers, Mario and Luigi, who travel to another dimension to rescue a princess from the evil dictator King Koopa and stop him from taking over the world, right? Starring Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo. Yeah?
Yep. That's the one.
Yep. Same thing.
Yep. Tiny little wind-up bob-ombs. Yeah.
God, I love to hate that movie.
Why did we never get Super Mario Brothers, the movie, the game?
Yeah, seriously? Like, we got Street Fighter, the movie, the game.
Yeah.
But John Leguizamo annoyed me when the new Super Mario Brothers came out, and he's like, there's not enough Italian representation in this. Or, sorry, not Italian, Mexican representation. And it's like, what? Like, what?
That makes no sense.
It's like two Italian plumbers, and you're like, no Hispanic representation?
Did he actually say that?
He did.
That's really weird.
Well,
That's just
everybody
weird.
in Hollywood is weird when they do something. Kevin Sorbo.
Oh, God.
Yes, he is also weird. All right. Next is Soha.
Christopher Pratt.
And Chris, there's nothing wrong with Chris Pratt.
Oh,
He's just in everything.
Stay off the internet for a while then.
Okay. That's probably why I don't think there's anything wrong with Chris Pratt. I don't know.
So stay off social media. I obviously should stay off social media. I'm done interrupting. Please carry on.
It's fine. He's always just he's the goofy guy from not Community, Parks and Rec. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Parks and Rec.
That's what he'll always be in my heart.
Yeah. Or the voice actor for everything ever in the history of ever. But he is so cool. All right. Well, Miyamoto said it. If Miyamoto said it, it has to be true. He's never wrong. Soha says, I don't really have much personal experience with this game because it's not for my time. I played it very little. For its time, it's a very well-crafted platformer, steering away from conventional arcade games and setting new boundaries for what could be possible for a fun experience at home. It is still fun today, just not something I would go back to. However, that Super Mario 35 thing Nintendo did for a limited time was super fun, and it's a shame they took it down. Bring it back, Nintendo.
Can I jump in here? I just want to say I love your community for this. This is obviously somebody who didn't grow up with Super Mario Brothers who still has a great take on it.
Yeah.
And this happens throughout your entire community all the time. Is just because somebody didn't experience this game, they always have a very solid take on the game. It's why I love you guys.
We have a great community. What's your part of?
So yeah, it has nothing to do with us.
No. Yeah, this is
no. You two are garbage. Your community is what makes you.
That's
entirely true.
Yeah, I like
that's
unironically. Yeah. Speaking of the community, Ray, the resident bad game enjoyer, he says Super Mario Brothers remains my favorite game of all time, and it's really easy to see why. While I did start with the Atari, Super Mario Brothers opened a world of possibility for me in gaming. The music, the level design, the enemies, the obstacles, it was very innovative for its time and felt so far ahead of all the other games that were currently out there. Obviously, there have been better technical games in the last 4 decades since, but Super Mario Brothers started it all, and I still play it pretty often to this day. I wouldn't be a gamer if it wasn't for Super Mario Brothers. Thank you, Ray.
You're here.
Hoorah. All right, JC. That's J_C. It's hard to say something about this game that hasn't been said before. However, even if playing it for the first time in 2025, it's plain to see why it became the reference that it did. The controls are responsive, the gameplay invites exploration, and the graphical presentation still oozes charm despite its age. The same can be said about the sound design. The sound effects are on point, and the soundtrack is extremely catchy. Now, picture all of that back in the mid-'80s, ! There is a reason why Nintendo and Mario became juggernauts that they are today. A truly industry-shaping title and one to be played at least once.
Hell yeah. Thank you, Jay. Next is Lucas from Game Over Hell. It's a YouTube channel. Go check it out. And Lucas says, this game predates my time. Mostly. My first console was a Master System, briefly, then the Super Nintendo, aka the SNES. So my first Mario was Super Mario World. I found out about Super Mario Bros. 1 through 3 through All-Stars and thought it was rather boring at the time. It was sometime around 2001 or so that I tried out the NES version and still didn't like it a lot. I guess as I grew up and appreciated arcade-like platformer experiences way more, that the situation reversed. Super Mario Bros. 1 is the Mario game I replay the most, by far. It's pure arcade joy, and I much prefer that over the relative time commitment that every other non-handheld Mario game requires. You pick it up, you finish it in 1 hour, give or take, much less if you try to speedrun it. If it aged well visually, now that's questionable. But the gameplay surely did. If I learned to have fun with it in 2007, then anyone can. Thank you, Lucas.
All right. We are getting close to the end. I assumed we were going to have a pretty big list for this one. And
yeah, I think this is the biggest one I think ever.
Yeah. And we have the one and only Dave Jackson from the Tales from the Backlog podcast, who tells us, you wonder if you guys can say anything anyone else hasn't already said about Super Mario Brothers, but did you know the mushrooms slide along the ground because that actually happened on the sidewalk in front of the Nintendo offices in Kyoto one icy January afternoon? Did not know that. A street peddler's cart of mushrooms overturned and the contents spilled out and slid in perfect unison down the sidewalk. Some eyewitnesses claim they slid for at least 30 meters until a young boy picked one up, ate it, and grew 3 feet. Oh, okay. This is full of shit now. All right. That boy's name, you ask? Chris Copeland. Anyway,
That's
no
me.
need to fact check that story. But what I'm really trying to say here is I love Super Mario Brothers despite not really liking many of the other Mario games on the NES or Super Nintendo. You had me in the first half, not gonna lie. But thank you, Dave Jackson.
This is now canon.
Yep. There you go.
Dave, that was my secret.
Chris Copeland invented Mario.
Well done, Dick.
My history of mushrooms runs deep.
Omi. Somebody has seen the Discord quite often. His comment says, Super Mario Brothers changed a lot of my perceptions about gaming at the time. It was linear instead of randomized or a one screen like a lot of games were. It had secrets. It had power-ups. You had button for running. It had different music for different parts of the game. And it was quite lengthy. It was quite a lengthy challenge too. It set the standard for what console games could be. And of course, the rest is history.
All right. Thank you, Omi. Right now it's our turn. That's all the patrons. That's probably the most patron pontifications we have ever received. So thank you so much, Patreon. Thank you so much, patrons. Thank you, Patreon. You're just there. You are in the way, but we love you. Sort of just, yeah. Anyway, thank you, patrons, for all of your comments this week. This has been awesome seeing all of you, what you thought about the game. And I think Brian put it really well. Like, that's what's awesome about our community is that you really do have a bunch of great takes, even when they're comical. So thank you for all of your takes. Thank you for all your opinions here. And now it's our turn to give whether or not we think this game holds up today. Once again, going to tradition, myself and Shane will give our opinions, and then Brian will close it out. So Shane, how about you take the first crack and let us know whether or not you think Super Mario Brothers holds up today?
I mean, what do I say? No, like, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's still fun to play today. Like, even if you don't have the shag carpet nostalgia that, most of us seem to have for it, it's a well-made game. Like, there's a reason it's endured. There's a reason that it served as a template for so many games going forward in the last 40 years. And it's also pretty ubiquitous. I mean, you can play it on pretty much anything. I mean, technically speaking, you can play a definitely not official version of it on a TI-83 Plus calculator. And I know this because I've done it. So, I mean, it's, in a way, it's kind of inescapable. So it's actually impressive if you haven't played this game, honestly. But yeah, man, like, it's still a great one to pick up and have a good time with. And like I said, if you run through it enough times, which is not hard to do, it's not a super lengthy title by any stretch, then you get to that point where, some of these levels, you just really get that satisfying flow state going. And it feels really good. Like a 40-year-old game controls better than some fucking games that are being released right now. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, true. Man, it still holds up.
Mm. I'm also going to say, yes, this game does hold up. And I think one of the things that I was just thinking about, I don't know why it just hit me now. I think a lot of the comments about it playing like an arcade game and something I mentioned about arcade games earlier. I think one of the things that Super Mario Brothers does so well is that it has an arcade spirit. It has an arcade mindset while distinctly not being an arcade game. Like, this is not an arcade game, but you can tell a lot of those pick up and play elements are still there while giving you a more robust experience and a less punishing experience in arcade could. But it does know when to turn up the heat when it needs to. That's a very unique thing in games during that time. They're either trying to be an arcade or trying to really veer into the home experience with the more JRPG or RPG kind of mindset. And I think this game really not so much represents the direction video games would take from that point and just kind of branch off from there, especially with 2D games, 2D platformers and so on and so forth. But this game really represents the evolution of Nintendo and firmly establishing themselves from an arcade game developer into the console giant that they are today. This is that bridge. This is them firmly saying, understanding what a console game should be. We say a lot about video games. This is the definitive benchmark for a console video game and where those experiences would go. And it still holds up. The controls are still tight. The momentum is easy to understand. The level design still holds up for the most part. There are some very bad examples in the castle levels, which I think they do suck and they do not hold up. But for overwhelming majority of the game, it's a very well-crafted experience that does outperform a lot of modern games today that I think just get too complicated and get in their own way. Where Super Mario Brothers shows that, hey, look, like being really simplistic and aiming for simplicity can rule the day. And sometimes just making it as easy as possible to go back to makes it the game worth going back to. So yes, 100% Super Mario Brothers holds up. It is an all-time great. It deserves its place in history. It may not be the best platformer ever. I'm not saying that, but what I am saying is that it's still a really fun game to play. It's still a fantastic game, and it definitely holds up. All right, Brian, close it out.
You guys just kind of summarize it very, very on point. I will say for my take is, Chris, you said it's not the platform, but I think it is you can say it's the foundation of every platformer that came after it.
Mm-hmm.
It sets so many rules in video games that we still see today, be it platformers, Metroidvanias, 3D worlds or 3D third-person view games. It's a game you cut your teeth on, and I know so many people with young kids that are around my age that just want their kids to start on this game because it is really a foundational game for video gamers. It holds up today simply because it's timeless. There's nothing about Super Mario Brothers that couldn't translate into today. And you can see that because the game has held up, and they've made countless 2D platformer Super Mario Brothers simply based off this formula. And it's so timeless. It is a game that musically, it is just beautiful. It has the iconic sounds that you instantly hear, and everybody can tell you where it came from. Mario, the character, was really introduced in this game. I know he was Jumpman. I know he was Mario Brothers before that, but people know him from Super Mario Brothers. And he is, like I said, he's more iconic than Mickey Mouse, which is saying a lot for a lot of kids. And it's just, how can you not say this game doesn't hold up today? That you can play, you can pick it up. It's on Nintendo Switch Online. If you have Nintendo Switch, spend the $9, get Nintendo Switch Online, give this game a go. And if you say you hate it, then I don't even know how you like video games. You probably are a guy who buys, NHL 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, all the way through 2025, because that's all you play. This game is iconic, and it holds up, period.
All right, that's awesome. 3 out of 3. Can't say I'm entirely shocked. This is Super Mario Brothers, after all.
Well, you can't say anything contrary to it. Like, even if the game sucked, we wouldn't be talking about it 40 years later.
I mean, we can talk about games that suck.
We'd be talking about it very differently, perhaps. But yeah,
true. But a
lot of people talk about the original Legend of Zelda.
Oh, here we go.
All right, you know what? I'm signing off.
A lot of people talk about the original Metroid.
I'm signing back on.
All right, there we are. But you're right. I mean, the amount of prestige that goes along with this game, I mean, it's well earned. It's well earned. We did have our problems with it. We didn't completely kiss its ass. So there we are. Not a complete coronation. I mean, it's been coronated already. By multiple sources. But Brian, thank you so much for joining us on this episode about the legendary Super Mario Brothers. It's a great game with a great legacy, so it's important that we have a great guest. So thank you for stopping by for this. If you could, though, we have hyped up your show quite a bit. We've plugged your show throughout the episode, but maybe the listener doesn't know where to find Retrotopia. So if you could, I know they heard it with Sam, but maybe they need to hear it a little bit more from you.
Let me reinforce it.
Yeah, reinforce it. Where can they find you on the internet?
Okay, well, first off, I want to say that Retro Hangover inspired us a lot when we created our show. That and Remember the Game. Like, a lot of people we know come from these two communities. And we want to thank you guys for never shitting on us, because we used to do a segment. We're going to bring it back called 5x5, which is basically a straight rip off of your flight. Like, I can't even pretend that we veered from the formula. We just literally took it and said, let's throw banjos in, and that's our shit. But so thank you for that. But if you want to listen to Retro Hangover, or if you want to listen to them, just where you're at. But if you want to listen to Retrotopia, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple Podcasts, we're on what used to be Google Podcasts, and whatever they turned into. So absolutely you can. We have a Patreon. You can find it, patreon.com/retrohangover. You can find all our social medias at Linktree/Retrotopia. It's very easy. We have a Discord. We have a small community, probably less than half the size of your community, even smaller than that, but we're building onto it, and we're having a lot of fun doing it.
They're very active.
Yeah.
If you like your active Discord servers, Retrotopia is where it's at.
Yeah, we got the people who are very active inside of that, and I love them all.
Mm-hmm. It's a great community. It's very nice. It's too active for me because I can't even be active in my own server anymore. But yeah, go check out Retrotopia. If you like active Discord servers, it's a great place to go. A great show. Alan, Sam, Brian, all great people. So definitely deserving of your support. So go check them out. And thanks again, Brian. Been great having you on.
Oh, thank you very much.
All right, Shay.
Yes.
What about us? Where can they find us if they haven't already? Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know how that's possible unless you got some fucking bootleg version of this episode somewhere from a dude in a trench coat. In which case, congratulations. Yeah, it was probably.
I'm in the trench coat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Eating mushrooms in Japan in 1984.
There you go. He's also the quantum leaper, as it turns out. So yeah, us. Well, first of all, we hope you enjoyed this episode. Perhaps we brought a slightly different take to a well-trodden area of video game historia. And if you enjoyed your time here and it happens to be your first time, I have news for you. There is a lot more to listen to. We are nothing if not just chock full of the content. So please feel free to check out our massive, just throbbing backlog of episodes. If you and if you want all of it, if you want to take it all, then I would not recommend going just to something like Apple Podcasts. Oh no, because you see, they limit you to only 300 episodes, which is crazy that we have more than that, but we do. So if you really want to
They
go back
circumcise
in
us.
time, yeah, if you really want to go back in time and see the or hear the previous 100 something, I guess now, God, then, or not quite, but we're almost there. I just go to the website because it's all still there. That's the OG feed. That's where it all exists. And so you could just subscribe directly there. And I would maybe suggest that for the most part. But you live your life. You do what you want to do. All of those places that you can find the show are going to be at our link tree. We also have one of those. It is linktr.ee/retro hangover. Very easy to remember. And in addition to the main feed, we also have our Patreon, which Chris has mentioned earlier, that you can get in on that action for as little as $1, one ducat. Will get you in and get you a bunch of extra content if you somehow are still fiending for more, as well as, other goodies and whatnot. So, I usually say I don't recommend that because it's an irresponsible use of your money. But again, I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. You do you,
No.
Especially in these constantly unprecedented times. I mean, fuck it, right? Whatever. Anyway, besides that, we've also got our socials, which technically still exist, and also our YouTube and Twitch channels, which we are active on fairly regularly. Chris, what might the people expect should they decide to spend some time with us on the stream?
Maybe we could discuss Mario Rule 34.
Great.
I don't think we've done that before.
I think this is the first episode I haven't actually posted a Rule 34, or we've not talked about Rule 34. I'm going to search Mario Rule 34.
Yeah, I think you should. I mean, there's some good stuff with Yoshi. He has a tongue. We could talk about Yoshi's tongue and Rule 34.
No.
Let's talk about Bowsette.
Immediate regret.
Yeah, Yoshi's tongue and Bowsette. It has. I think that's happened. I mean,
I'm sure
it has to.
Yeah.
We could discuss that if you head over to our streams that happen on twitch.tv/retrohangover at 9 p.m. Eastern time on Sundays. And because Sunday is the day that you want to talk about, Mario porn. And you can head over to YouTube and see it there as well. Twitch is probably the best place if you want to interact and get into the chat and stuff like that. It's just easier to see your messages, but it's either YouTube or Twitch. And I hope to see you there. And hopefully Yoshi's tongue comes out of your mouth. Hope that happens.
Know what that means, but there you go.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Anthropomorphic Cunnilingus. It's a great metal band name.
Cunnilingus.
Anyway,
you're saying you have a bussy?
I mean, I was referring back to Bowsette. You know what? It doesn't matter. It's fine. Anyway, before we dig this hole any deeper, I'm gonna go ahead and pull the string on this one. And I swear to God, I'm really trying to to make more double on. God damn. Okay, we need to stop this. All right, fine. Until the next time.
Play with your Lakitu throws spined for your pleasured creatures at you joysticks.
Shane here with a quick message. The one rule Chris and I have always gone by regarding advertisements is this. It has to be something we use and can personally vouch for. If you know me, you know I love coffee. And Bones Coffee Company has been my go-to for home brewing for quite some time now. Their small batch beans come in an impressive variety of flavors like Mint Invaders from Chocolate Space, or Electric Unicorn, which I swear tastes exactly like Fruity Pebbles. And the best part? No added sugar or calories involved, just natural flavors infused right into the beans themselves. Build your own sample pack of 5 4-ounce bags to find out which flavors speak to you, or jump in head first with full 12-ounce bags. They've even got K-Cups. Step up your homebrew game with Bones Coffee by visiting bit.ly/RHPBones. That's bit.ly/RHPBONES.